Did you know that Mario Tennis might be one of the most influential Mario games? At least when it comes to the characters. With the creation of a much beloved character, the long-awaited return of another, and one that would never be seen again, plus a bunch of characters being playable for the first time ever, it might be the most important Nintendo roster for its time. We're talking about Mario Tennis for the Nintendo 64, nearly 25 years ago, which isn't just the first in the series, but a first for many iconic characters. This was the first Mario spin-off game to feature such an expansive roster, made up of seemingly oddball character choices, that would go on to impact not only dozens of future spin-off games for decades to come, but even eventually the mainline Mario games too. With 16 characters total, half of them are made up of what we're going to call the core 8, which are basically the same 8 as most any of the other Mario spin-offs at the time. Like Mario Kart with Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Toad, DK, Wario, and Bowser all returning. In addition, Baby Mario is back from the previous year's Mario Golf. But as for the other 7 characters, well, that's where things get really interesting. Marking her first major appearance since her 1989 debut in Super Mario Land is Princess Daisy, in her first ever playable appearance. That's an 11-year gap, where, in that time, she only made a couple of cameo appearances. Of course, she went on to appear in Mario Party 3 later the same year, and then became a staple character in the Mario spin-offs for decades, very rarely missing a game. Which then culminated in, finally, appearing as a playable character in the mainline Mario game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This early appearance also set up some of her character traits, though not quite as we know them. While Daisy is now more known for being a loud tomboy, this wasn't exactly the case originally. Here in Mario Tennis, she's depicted as more clumsy, which helps set her apart from Peach. But what's interesting is that, despite everything we said, she's not even Peach's partner. She's actually Luigi's. Maybe this was the start of something more. But Daisy was still someone who existed before this game. What's even more interesting is someone who didn't exist at all. And that brings us to one of the most, should we say, beloved characters in the series? At least by some. Being this weirdo, Waluigi. Like Daisy, he's a special case. But even more special, because this was Waluigi's debut appearance, having been created specifically for this game, to give Wario a tennis partner. And like Daisy, he also appeared in Mario Party 3 later the same year, becoming another staple spin-off character that's barely missed any game since. And this gives Waluigi the distinct honor of being the first ever Nintendo character created specifically for a spin-off, who would then go on to become a staple of the series, setting the stage for future spin-off entrants like Toadette and Baby Rosalina. This debut appearance also started Waluigi's rivalry with Luigi, which parallels Wario and Mario. His name is even a fusion of Bad and Luigi. So, Waluigi's long-lasting legacy all started here in Mario Tennis, simply because the developers needed a partner for Wario. And unlike Daisy, whose design and personality have undergone some changes over the years, the developers basically nailed Waluigi from the very beginning, with his distinctive attitude being clear from the very start. Waluigi was an exciting new character, one that they kept in the forefront of marketing for the game, even featuring him on the game's website. As an interesting fun fact, Waluigi wasn't the only new evil doppelganger planned for this game, as a Wario version of Peach was also once considered, and then once again for the sequel, Mario Power Tennis, but was ultimately rejected both times. Looks like Wario and Waluigi are the only evil rivals to stick the landing. Could we ever see this evil Peach counterpart make a true appearance in the future? If so, it'd be yet another character with roots back to Mario Tennis 64. While perhaps not as prevalent as Daisy and Waluigi, Mario Tennis was the first game to widely feature several characters that had never been playable in a game before. Berto, Paratroopa, Boo, and Shy Guy. While Paratroopa only really has a small handful of playable appearances after this point, the rest made bigger splashes, with Berto, Boo, and Shy Guy making frequent appearances in spin-off games as playable characters, be it other Mario sports games, Mario Party, or Mario Kart. At this point, they're basically considered mainstays, and we have their debut playable appearance in Mario Tennis to thank for paving the way. Berto stands out in particular, as, like Shy Guy, she also originated in Super Mario Bros. 2. But this game being her first playable appearance, It was the start of some deeper characterization for her. Early on, Berto was shown to have a close bond with Yoshi, and while this continued throughout the 2000s, it was eventually dropped. But whatever relationship existed between Berto and Yoshi began here, in Mario Tennis. And this brings us to a bigger question. Why were Daisy, Waluigi, and Berto all introduced in this game anyway? Well, it's most likely because certain characters needed partners for doubles that made some sort of sense. Giving Peach a partner who's another princess, and one who had already been an established character a decade earlier, makes a lot of sense. Except for the fact that she was paired with Luigi, not Peach. So maybe this was just a case of getting more women as playable characters. And then there weren't many human characters to pair with Wario, so creating a dastardly companion from scratch to mirror the Mario brothers also makes a lot of sense. And then pairing Berto with Yoshi, well, they're both dino-like creatures that make use of eggs, so I guess that's not all too weird. However, it's not all about setting standards for the future here. One other character makes this game's roster incredibly important, Donkey Kong Jr., because besides the rare occasional cameo, this is his final playable appearance in any game. While he technically appeared in Mario Kart Tour in his SNES form, as a reference to being in the original Super Mario Kart, that's still not quite the same as a new appearance. Mario Tennis was the last new playable appearance of DK Jr. in 3D at that. So why was DK Jr. here anyway? Well, he was previously a playable character in the Virtual Boy title Mario's Tennis, a pseudo-predecessor to this game, so perhaps that served as a good reason to include him here in the first entry in the real Mario Tennis series. But we suspect that in games after this, he was replaced by Diddy Kong. And sadly, DK Jr. didn't get to stick around in spin-offs after this one, unlike basically every other character in the roster. Which honestly is kinda strange. With a new Mario spin-off game on the way, especially one featuring a large roster, it's interesting to look back at the game that may have helped set the precedent for the varied and expansive rosters that Mario games would become known for. And since this game, we've seen plenty of characters get debut appearances in spin-offs, or first playable appearances in a Mario Tennis game. But it all started with the first Mario Tennis on Nintendo 64, and that's pretty cool. But what do you guys think? Do you believe Mario Tennis and its roster has played an important role in the rest of the Mario spin-offs? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for plenty more on Mario, and other things gaming as well, of course. Until next time, farewell.